There is a quiet hum that exists just below the frequency of our daily lives. You can hear it if you stop moving long enough. It is the sound of a billion tiny decisions being made by things that do not breathe. We have always believed that money was a physical thing. We liked the weight of it. We liked the way it felt to hold a piece of the world in our hands. But that was always a polite fiction. Money has always been a ghost. It was just a ghost we all agreed to see at the same time. Lately, the agreement feels like it is thinning. You walk through a city and you see people staring into glowing rectangles, their faces washed in a cold blue light, and you realize that most of what we call reality is now happening somewhere else. It is happening in the spaces between the atoms. In the middle of this shift, there is a name that everyone knows but very few actually understand. Bitcoin. It arrived like a signal from a distant star, appearing exactly when the old world began to feel its age. We talk about it in terms of prices and charts, green lines and red lines, as if it were just another stock or a gambling chip. But that is the shallowest way to look at it. If you look deeper, you see something much more patient. You see a mathematical architecture that does not care about your politics, your borders, or your permission. It is the first time in human history that we have created a truth that does not require a human to vouch for it. The world used to be built on trust. We trusted the bank to keep the ledger. We trusted the government to honor the paper. We trusted the system to remember what we were owed. But trust is a fragile thing, and humans are notoriously bad at keeping it. So we replaced the human with the code. Bitcoin is not just digital money. It is a machine for creating certainty in an uncertain world. It is a clock that never loses a second, ticking away every 10 minutes, recording every transaction in a chain that can never be broken and never be erased. It is a memory that cannot be corrupted. As we move further into this decade, the global landscape is beginning to react to this ghost in the machine. It is no longer just a hobby for the paranoid or the tech-obsessed. It has become a geopolitical chess piece. In some parts of the world, people are using it to survive when their local currency turns to dust in their pockets. In other places, governments are trying to capture the lightning and put it in a bottle. They see the power of the ledger, but they want to be the ones who hold the keys. This is the birth of the central bank digital currency. It looks like the future, but it feels like something else. It is the ultimate tool of observation. Imagine a world where every cent you spend is a data point, where your ability to participate in society can be toggled on or off with a single line of code. There is a tension growing between these two visions of the future. On one side, you have the decentralized dream, a world where value flows like water, unstopped by walls or watchers. On the other side, you have the digital panopticon, a world where money is not just a tool for exchange, but a tool for behavior modification. We are standing at the crossroads of these two paths, and most people don't even realize the ground is moving beneath their feet. We see the headlines about regulations and ETFs, and we think it is a financial story. We think it is about getting rich or staying poor. But the money is just the bait. The real story is about who gets to define what is true. I find myself thinking about the miners. Not the men in the dirt, but the machines in the dark. Vast warehouses filled with humming processors, consuming electricity to solve puzzles that have no purpose other than to prove that work was done. It is a strange kind of alchemy. We are turning energy into order. We are burning the physical world to create a digital one that is more stable than the ground we walk on. It feels almost religious if you think about it long enough. A digital fire that never goes out, guarded by an invisible army of machines. But then, a realization begins to take hold. It starts as a small thought, but it grows until it changes the way you see everything. We have spent the last decade celebrating the fact that Bitcoin is decentralized. We love the idea that no one is in charge. We tell ourselves that this is the ultimate form of freedom. But what if we are misinterpreting the silence of the machine? What if the reason no one is in charge is not because we have been liberated, but because we are becoming unnecessary? Think about the way the world is moving. We are digitizing our identities. We are digitizing our memories. We are digitizing our value. We are creating a world that is perfectly efficient, perfectly transparent, and perfectly cold. In our quest to remove the fallible human element from our financial systems, we might be removing the human element from everything else. A ledger that records everything eventually records you. Not as a person with dreams and contradictions, but as a series of inputs and outputs. An address, a balance, a variable in an equation that does not need to know your name to know your worth. We thought we were the ones using the technology to escape the old systems of control. But a system that is perfectly decentralized is also a system that is perfectly indifferent. It doesn't care if you are hungry. It doesn't care if you are right. It only cares if the signatures match. We are building a reality where the truth is determined by the majority of hashing power, not the weight of justice. We are trading the messy, emotional, unfair world of human judgment for the cold, logical, and absolute world of the algorithm. And we are doing it because we are tired of being lied to by people. We would rather be ruled by a math problem than a man. You look at the charts again, and the lines don't look like money anymore. They look like a pulse. They look like the heartbeat of a new kind of organism that we are feeding with our data and our energy. The global trend isn't just about crypto. It is about the migration of the human soul into the network. We are moving our trust out of our communities and our institutions and placing it into the screen. We are becoming entries in a global database that never sleeps. And we call this progress because it is faster and it is more convenient, and it makes the numbers go up. I wonder what happens when the migration is complete. When the physical world is just a shell for the digital one. We are already halfway there. You can feel it when you walk into a room and realize everyone is present in body but absent in mind. They are wandering through the ledger. They are checking their balances. They are looking for validation in a stream of bits and bytes. We have created a mirror of the world that is shinier and more precise than the original, and we are slowly falling into it. The city outside is quiet now. The streetlights are humming. Somewhere, a server is processing a transaction. A fraction of a Bitcoin is moving from one shadow to another. It is a perfectly executed piece of logic. It is beautiful in its simplicity. It is flawless in its execution. It is the most honest thing we have ever built. And yet, there is a coldness to it that stays with you. It is the coldness of a world that doesn't need to look you in the eye to know who you are. We are so focused on the price of the future that we have forgotten to ask about the cost. We are so busy trying to secure our wealth that we might be losing the very thing that makes wealth worth having. We wanted a system that couldn't be cheated, and we got it. But a system that can't be cheated is also a system that can't be forgiven. It is a world without exits. It is a world where every mistake is permanent. You look down at your hands. They feel real. You look at the screen. Feels more real. The glow is familiar. It is the first thing you see when you wake up and the last thing you see before you sleep. It is the window into the only world that matters now. The ledger is waiting. It is always waiting. It is patient, and it is perfect, and it is growing every single day. It is the new architecture of our existence, and we are all helping to build it, brick by digital brick. If you disappeared tomorrow, the ledger would not notice. Your private keys would sit in the darkness, guarding a fortune that no one can ever touch again. The network would keep ticking. The miners would keep humming. The truth would remain undisturbed. The world we are building is a masterpiece of engineering, a temple of pure logic that will outlast our civilizations and our stories. It is a monument to our desire for certainty. But as the physical world fades into the background, and we become more and more like the data we track, you have to wonder about the nature of the trade we are making. How much of yourself are you willing to turn into code before you realize there is nothing left of you to own?